The African sun, usually a symbol of warmth and life, today beats down on a scene of primal, devastating fury. The air is thick with the scent of silt and fear, and the surface of the Mara River is erupting in a violent frenzy. It is here, in the murky, blood-warm waters, that the oldest instincts clash in a battle for survival, a battle where the definition of mother stands against the crushing reality of predator. A Nile crocodile, a creature 200 million years in the making, whose sleek, armored body can reach lengths of 20 feet, had made a mistake. It saw vulnerability, a flicker of weakness, and it struck. Its target, a newborn hippopotamus calf, less than an hour old, still unsteady on its stubby legs, separated for a terrifying moment from the safety of the pod. The attack was swift, a blur of scaled hide and massive, conical teeth designed not just to pierce, but to pulverize. But the river's true sovereign, the behemoth of the floodplains, the hippopotamus mother, was watching. In this moment, her 7,000 pounds of muscle and dense bone ceased to be a passive presence and became a tidal wave of righteous maternal wrath. Hippos are known for their territorial aggression, for jaws that can open 6 feet wide and bite pressure that can snap the femur of a Cape buffalo. Yet this was not territoriality. This was a defense driven by a force more powerful than hunger or dominance, unconditional love. With a roar that shakes the riverbanks, a sound more bass-heavy and terrifying than any lion's call, she lunges. She catches the immense reptile mid-grip. Her tusks, often hidden behind those massive lips, are honed weapons of bone, and she drives them into the crocodile's flank. The reptile, the very symbol of cold, calculated cruelty, is met with the white-hot intensity of a mother's defense. The climax is a brutal, agonizing spectacle. The mother hippo doesn't just chase the predator away, she seeks its total annihilation. With another explosive lunge, she clamps down on the crocodile's spine. Sound of a sharp, sickening crunch. The predator, a titan whose very existence defines the Mara's danger, is broken. The water settles, the mud begins to clear, and the colossal mother stands over her unharmed calf, a testament to the fact that even in the cruelest wild, instinct and the ferocious power of motherhood are forces that none, not even the prehistoric predator, can defeat. This is the law of the African wild. This is the Mara, where every sunrise demands a debt, and every life is paid for in courage. The drama you just witnessed is a daily occurrence, a tiny, devastating chapter in the vast, continuous epic we call the Great Migration. We must now rewind and understand the forces that draw life and death to this very river. The Mara is not just a river, it is a dangerous serpentine scar that divides the Lanyuras of Kenya and Tanzania. It is the final, deadly gauntlet in one of the planet's most profound biological spectacles. For millions of animals, the river marks the difference between life-giving sustenance and total starvation. Driven by an ancient, internal GPS keyed to rainfall and the sweet promise of nitrogen-rich grasses, nearly 2 million wildebeest, and crucially for our story, hundreds of thousands of zebras, embark on an arduous 800-kilometer round trip. Imagine an instinct so powerful it overrides pain, fatigue, and the certainty of danger. These animals are following a signal older than any map, an ancestral memory of survival that guides them from the depleted southern plains to the lush, green abundance in the north. This is not a journey taken by choice. It is a destiny dictated by drought and grass. Among the marching masses, the zebra stands out. Their striking, monochromatic coats, a visual paradox, are central to their survival. For decades, scientists debated the purpose of the zebra's stripes, dismissing them as simple camouflage. But the truth is far more intricate, a masterclass in biological engineering. First, camouflage. When 1,000 zebras stand side by side, the stripes merge into a shimmering, dizzying effect. For a lioness stalking from a distance, the defined outline of a single zebra dissolves into a confusing, flickering mass, a phenomenon known as motion dazzle. This disruption makes it agonizingly difficult for a predator to lock onto one target, to calculate the launch point of the attack, and to maintain focus during the chase. Second, thermoregulation. The black stripes absorb heat, while the white stripes reflect it. This difference in temperature creates micro-air currents just above the zebra's skin, effectively generating a natural, self-cooling airflow that is vital for survival under the brutal equatorial sun. The stripes act as the zebra's personal air conditioning system. Third, social distinction and insect repellent. The unique stripe patterns are also a form of social fingerprint, allowing zebras to recognize one another within the chaos of the herd. More fascinatingly, recent studies suggest the thin, black stripes repel the biting tsetse fly, a carrier of deadly disease, proving that nature's design is always multifunctional. But the true genius of the zebra lies in the strength of its numbers, the herd. For the vulnerable foals, the herd is an impenetrable shield, a living wall of muscle and flashing confusion. The foals are always positioned in the center, surrounded by the powerful kickers and biters of the adult population. They are the heart of the journey, the reason for the migration's continuation. The entire 800-kilometer trek is a preparation for one crucial, terrifying moment: the crossing of the Mara River. The vast expanse of plains, the weary miles of dust and heat, the minor skirmishes with minor predators. All of it is merely a prologue to the definitive, lethal obstacle that awaits them, a watery crucible where the weak are purged by the ultimate ancient assassin. The zebras cluster on the bank, a vast, anxious throng. The roar of the water, the terrifying, unseen depths, the instinctual knowledge of what awaits, it all mounts into an unbearable tension. Every muscle is coiled, every ear is twitching, awaiting the one inexplicable trigger, the inexplicable act of courage or panic that will send them plunging into the river of blood. The stage is set. Above the water, there is hesitation, instinct, and a desperate drive for survival. Below the surface, there is only patience, an eternity of stillness, and a hunger that defies time. We descend now under the turbid, opaque surface of the Mara. This is the domain of the Nile crocodile, a prehistoric predator whose lineage stretches back over 200 million years. They are living fossils, perfectly engineered for a lethal ambush, and they rule these waters with absolute, terrifying sovereignty. Look at their design. Massive, armored scales that can deflect a spear, eyes and nostrils positioned on the top of their skull, allowing them to submerge their entire body, leaving only the faintest suggestion of their presence. Two dark bumps that look like floating debris. They are the ultimate masters of stealth. They do not hunt, they wait. As the zebras mass on the bank, the crocodiles are arrayed below, patient generals in a watery war. These reptiles can exceed 700 kilograms, and their power is concentrated in their jaw. They possess a bite force measured in tons per square inch, a pulverizing, bone-crushing pressure that is the strongest in the animal kingdom. Once those jaws clamp down, there is no escape. The tension on the bank snaps. Perhaps one brave male takes the plunge, or perhaps a moment of shared panic sends a wave of bodies forward. Whatever the cause, the mass of life erupts, charging down the slick mud banks and into the river. The water turns instantly from brown to chaos. Zebras are kicking, whinnying, swimming frantically, their sleek bodies struggling against the swift current. The visual confusion of their stripes, so effective on land, is useless in the churning water. They are defined, isolated targets. And then the violence explodes. One moment, a zebra is swimming strongly. The next, its entire front or back leg disappears in a spray of water. A vast, dark shape has materialized from the unseen depths, its jaws locked. The zebra's desperate struggle is met with the crocodile's ultimate, signature move, the death roll. The crocodile anchors itself and begins to spin its body violently. This is not just a show of force, it is a calculated, devastating physical maneuver. The rotational force is so extreme that it rips away flesh, disorients the victim, and quickly drowns the struggling animal. The zebra's struggle against the force is pitifully brief. The river transforms instantly into a death trap. The current, the panic, the slickness of the banks, and the sheer density of the crocodile population work in concert. Many zebras drown simply from exhaustion, their flailing hooves pulled under by the sheer weight of their panicked neighbors. For the crocodiles, this is a feast of untold abundance, an annual delivery of tons of fresh meat. They are not merely predators. They are the Mara's liquid executioners, fulfilling their ancient, unwritten mandate to purge the weak and ensure that only the most resilient survive the crossing. The statistics are grim. Thousands will perish in a matter of hours. The river runs red. The violence is overwhelming, a natural law written in blood and scales, illustrating the unsparing cruelty of an ecosystem where every life is purchased at the highest possible price. After the nightmare of the river, the exhausted survivors pull themselves onto the far bank, gasping for air and safety. They stagger onto the savannah, believing the worst is over. But the Mara crossing is merely an audition. The plains are the main performance, and the laws of the wild are absolute. Here, in the deceptive calm of the golden, sun-drenched grass, new masters await, the lions. The lioness is the true hunter of the pride, a master of stealth and coordinated strategy. Unlike the ambush of the crocodile, the lion's attack is an exercise in applied geometry and psychological pressure. As the zebras graze, still jittery and fatigued, the lionesses melt into the tall grasses. Their tawny coats, often dismissed as simply yellow, are a perfect blend with the dry savanna, making them virtually invisible until it is too late. The attack is not a brute force charge. It is a coordinated, silent symphony. One or two lionesses will move to a visible flank, drawing the attention of the zebra herd. The other, younger, faster lionesses, the true assassins, utilize this distraction to move into position, using the wind and the topography to their advantage. They create a deadly, tightening semicircle. The emboscada coordinada, coordinated ambush, is sprung when the prey is at its most vulnerable. The lionesses burst from the cover, not chasing the strongest or the fastest, but isolating the weakest, the sickest, or the most unfortunate individual. The velocity of the chase is terrifying, a sudden, blinding flash of power. The hunt ends with the targeted prey driven to the ground, a decisive bite to the throat or muzzle securing the kill. This is the law of the savannah, a necessary, brutal equation. Death equals life. The fallen zebra is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of a magnificent, grisly communion. The pride descends first, the dominant male taking his due, the lionesses and cubs following in the strict hierarchy of the pride. But the bounty is too great for the pride alone. Within minutes, the scent of the kill travels across the kilometers of the plain. The scavengers arrive. Jackals, vultures circling high in the thermals, and the true heirs to the scraps, the hyenas. The hyena clan is a powerhouse in its own right, powerful jaws and a social structure defined by matriarchal dominance. They wait, a restless, chattering ring around the kill, using intimidation and sheer numbers to gain access. When the lions are full, the hyenas surge in, efficiently cleaning the bones, ensuring that virtually nothing is wasted. The entire process, the lion's initial skill, the hyena's powerful jaws, the vulture's aerial surveillance, is the engine that powers the savanna's ecosystem, recycling nutrients back into the soil, keeping the plains clean and preventing the spread of disease. As the sun begins to fade, however, the tone shifts. The violence subsides, replaced by the essential, softer side of the predator's life. The evening is the time for family. The focus shifts to the lion's social behavior, the ternura, tenderness, and Lazo's familiars, family bonds that truly cement the pride's success. We see cubs batting playfully at their mother's tail, an act that is both a game and a training exercise. We see the dominant male tolerating the playful nips of his offspring. The lionesses groom each other, reinforcing the communal bond. This is the deeper lesson of the pride. Their strength is not just in the size of their claws or the speed of their charge, but in their complex, cooperative social structure. It is the affection, the shared responsibility of rearing the young, and the unity of purpose that allows them to hunt and thrive. The strength of their relationships, the cimentation, cementing of their success, is what makes them the apex predators, proving that even in the ultimate theater of survival, family and community are the foundations of power. We return now, briefly, to the river, for a deeper understanding of the creature we met in our opening hook, the hippopotamus. If the crocodile is the river's executioner, the hippo is its unquestioned, irritable king. Often mistaken for placid, lazy giants, the hippo is, in reality, one of the most dangerous and aggressive animals in Africa. They are the titans, fluvials, river titans, the true masters of the waterway, capable of facing down the largest lions and, as we witnessed, breaking the spine of a crocodile. The hippo's life is defined by its amphibia naturaleza, amphibious nature. They spend their days submerged to protect their sensitive skin from the scorching sun, emerging only at night to graze on the short grasses of the riverbanks. This necessity for the water makes them fiercely territorial, especially when they have young. Their immense power is breathtaking. They can run at speeds of 30 km/h on land and hold their breath for up to 5 minutes. Their most potent weapon is their jaw, equipped with massive, chisel-like incisors and tusks. A hippo's territorial charge is a declaration of war, a frightening combination of size, speed, and unpredictable aggression. Our opening narrative, the defense of the calf, encapsulates the true power of the Mara's primal forces. The furia maternal del hippopotami, maternal fury of the hippopotamus, is the ultimate demonstration that survival is not just about hunting, it is about protecting. When the calf was seized by the lurking crocodile, the mother's cognitive process shut down, replaced by a pure, overwhelming surge of protective rage. The act of hunting and killing the enormous reptile, a feat few creatures dare to attempt, was a clear message, broadcast in violence. This river may be cruel, but my instinct to preserve my lineage is the most powerful force within it. It is a moment of profound significance. The crocodile, the cold-blooded calculating survivor, is defeated by the hot, irrational, and absolute passion of the mammalian mother. This single, devastating confrontation proves that while the laws of nature are cruel, the primal, unconditional love between parent and child is a power that can temporarily overturn those laws, demonstrating that instinto maternal es una de las fuerzas más poderosas del Mara. Maternal instinct is one of the most powerful forces of the Mara. We leave the river-scarred landscape of the Mara and shift our focus south to the sweeping, arid landscapes of Botswana. This is a different kind of wild, more sparse, more open, a pristine, virgin intorno, untouched environment where the very air feels charged with ancient, primitive survival. Here, the hunters are smaller, but their efficiency is arguably the most terrifying on the continent. We introduce the likyons, African wild dogs, or painted wolves. They are the supreme long-distance athletes of the savannah, defined by their resilience, unique strategy, and unmistakable appearance. Their physiology is optimized for the chase. Large, satellite dish augers, ears, that not only help dissipate heat, but also act as crucial communication tools within the pack. Their pelage unico, unique coat, a chaotic pattern of black, white, and rust-brown patches, acts as a visual signature, making it easier for pack members to locate one another during a fast-paced hunt across the open plains. The Lycaons are not built for a single, explosive ambush like the leopard. They are built for stamina and coordination. They achieve a kill rate efficiency that often rivals that of the larger felids, thanks to their unparalleled tactica de joria, pack tactics. The hunt is a masterclass in relentless, high-speed attrition. The target is a herd of impalas, agile, fast, and constantly vigilant. The Lycaons begin the chase at a rapid pace, testing the herd, identifying the weakest link. Once the target is selected, the pack employs a rotating relay system. The lead dogs push the pace, driving the exhausted impala. When the leaders begin to tire, they fall back, and fresh dogs immediately take their place at the front of the chase. This constant, relentless pressure ensures that the prey, no matter how fast or agile, is denied any moment to rest or recover. It is a caceria de alta velocidad, high-speed hunt, a mortal race across the pradera grassland. The impala's agilidad, agility, its ability to leap and change direction, is spectacular, but it cannot outlast the combined, organized will of the pack. The Lycaons are communicating constantly through high-pitched yips and movements, a silent, deadly conversation understood only by them. The coordination is so precise it seems almost telepathic. The chase ends not with a final leap, but with sheer, catastrophic exhaustion. The impala falters, and the pack surrounds it, dispatching it quickly and efficiently. The Lycaons teach us that in the open wilderness, speed is important, but endurance and flawless teamwork are the ultimate survival weapons. Their success is a tribute to democratic cooperation, a strategy far more effective than the solitary dominance of a single, massive predator. The life of the Lycaon is a constant balance between the exhilaration of the hunt and the perpetual fragility of their lineage. The cyclo-reproductivo, reproductive cycle of the pack centers around the dominant female, and the pups are the heart of their future. These cachorros, pups, are utterly vulnerable, constantly needing protection and food, defining the pack's daily struggle. It is during a routine patrol near the den that the story takes an unexpected, fascinating twist, introducing one of Africa's most famous, defiant characters, the Tejon de Mille, honey badger. This is a creature of legend, small, squat, and built like a barrel, known for its utterly indomitable indomitable temperament, and disproportionate courage. The honey badger is a walking, breathing challenge to the law of the hierarchy. A lone honey badger, focused entirely on a subterranean meal, suddenly finds itself surrounded by the entire Lycaon pack. It is heavily supradue en numero outnumbered, a single 20-pound creature against a dozen coordinated hunters. By all rights, this should be a quick, clean kill for the pack. But the honey badger is not built like other animals. Its skin is its armor, incredibly thick, loose, and rubbery, making it almost impossible for predators to secure a lethal grip. The skin is so loose that even if a Lycaon manages to bite, the badger can twist entirely around within its own hide to bite back at its attacker. The Lycaons, sensing an easy meal, launch their attack. The badger doesn't flee, it attacks back. It hisses, snarls, and rushes toward the dogs, a tiny, furious dynamo. The dogs, conditioned to chase and disembowel, are suddenly confused. This is prey that doesn't run, prey that fights with an almost manic ferocity, ignoring pain, impervious to the initial exploratory bite. The sequence is an astonishing display of tenacity. The pack is frustrated, their coordinated attack dissolving into a bewildered melee. The honey badger, refusing to yield a single inch, manages to repel the attack simply through sheer audacity and the defensive genius of its thick hide. Against all logic, the pack realizes the cost of the fight outweighs the meager reward. A small, furious creature, capable of inflicting painful, irritating bites, is not worth the risk of a debilitating injury that could cripple a key hunter. The Lycaons retreat, observing the little warrior as it simply shakes off the dust and continues on its search for a scorpion or a bee colony. The honey badger walks away victorious, not because it was stronger, but because it was fearless and relentless. It is a creature that has learned that in the wild, often the greatest defense is simply the absolute refusal to surrender. The honey badger, embodying its persistent nature, continues its meandering path, its focus solely on food. It is now that it meets its greatest challenger yet, the master of the silent attack, the leopard. The leopard is the ultimate embodiment of grace and raw power, a creature of shadows and trees. It is the maestro del sigillo, master of stealth, utilizing its rosette-patterned coat to become invisible within the dappled light of the thicket. Its hunting method is the emboscada, ambush, a single, explosive strike of catastrophic force designed to end the confrontation instantly. The encounter is a duelo silencioso, silent duel. The leopard, initially concealed, senses the movement and stalks forward, recognizing the potential for an easy, albeit unusual, meal. The honey badger, with its low center of gravity and acute senses, becomes aware of the massive feline's presence. The tension is unbearable. It is a face-off between two extremes. The Fuser explosive strength of the great cat, ready to launch its entire weight and claw power against the audacious defensive audacity of the small warrior, a creature entirely convinced of its own invincibility. The leopard assesses the situation. It sees a small animal, but it smells the unmistakable stink of the badger's powerful defensive musk. It remembers the tailies of this creature's thick, loose skin and its maniacal temper. A successful hunt requires a quick kill. A difficult kill risks injury, and an injury for a solitary hunter like the leopard is a death sentence. The honey badger, instead of cowering, raises its hackles, hisses, and takes a deliberate, challenging step toward the leopard. This tiny act of defiance is the deciding factor. Against all biological odds, the leopard makes a calculated decision. The potential injury from the badger's claws and teeth, the risk of a torn paw or a deep gash, is not worth the calorie count of the meal. The leopard turns and silently melts back into the shadows. The honey badger has won again, not by fighting, but by intimidation and reputation. Its defiant attitude and legendary resilience forced the ultimate predator to evaluate the risk and retreat. In the brutal hierarchy of the wild, the honey badger has carved out a unique, protected niche, proving that sometimes the greatest strength is not muscle, but unflinching courage. Our final narrative returns us to the intricate web of life, where survival is not just a personal struggle, but a responsibility to the next generation. We follow a mother leopard, whose story is one of ultimate pressure. Hidden away in a safe den are her cria's Riciane Nasidas, newborn cubs, small, blind, and utterly dependent. The clock is ticking. The mother must feed them, and that need forces her into increasingly desperate and risky hunts. Hunger is the driving force that makes even the most cautious predator take a chance. Under the cover of dawn, she stalks the edge of the Lycaon territory, driven by the desperate realization that a large kill is too difficult and too risky. She focuses on the only viable target, a cachorro de licorice pup that has strayed briefly from the den. The strategy is flawless. A quick, silent dash, a grab, and a swift retreat up a tree where the pack cannot follow. She lunges, but the licorice pack, defined by its teamwork and hypervigilance, is too fast. The sentinel dogs react instantly. The alarm goes up, a frenzy of high-pitched barks, and the entire Manada de Perros salvage pack of wild dogs reacts in a coordinated defensive counterattack. The mother leopard's plan faller. She finds herself surrounded, not by prey, but by a swarm of sharp teeth and unrelenting ferocity. She has gone from the hunter to the hunted in an instant. She cannot fight them all without sustaining a critical, debilitating injury. She is forced to drop the pup and flee to the safety of the nearest tree, defeated by the collective strength of the pack. The tiny pup is rescued, a small life saved by the ultimate power of family defense. We have journeyed from the blood-soaked waters of the Mara to the arid plains of Botswana. We have witnessed the epic resilience of the zebra, the cold patience of the crocodile, the organized strategy of the lioness, the irrational, fierce love of the hippo, and the absolute power of teamwork demonstrated by the wild dogs. We have watched a tiny honey badger defy titans with nothing more than courage and a thick skin. This is the reflection on the interconexión de la vida while I'm way en Africa, interconnection of life and death in Africa. Every predator, from the lion to the tiny honey badger, plays a necessary role. Every act of violence is an act of sustenance. The life of the herd depends on the relentless pursuit of the predator, which ensures only the strongest genes survive to continue the migration. Thank you for joining us on this breathtaking journey into the relentless heart of the wild. Please like this video, leave your answers to our questions in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the stunning drama of the natural world.